Veteran Salute is sponsored by the Devon James Injury Lawyers.
A veteran says his dad asked him what he was going to do about Vietnam, so he made his way to the National Guard Armory and signed up to serve.
As Gwen Bevel and photojournalist Nick Kiefer show us, the year was 1965.
Just 3 years later, the entire National Guard was activated into the Army, and Ron Adame was headed to war.
Okay, this is a picture of us in the Nam waiting for the choppers to come in.
Ron Adame and other soldiers, rucksacks packed.
Am I going to make it today? If I make it today, will I make it tomorrow?
Adame says combat was nothing like it's portrayed in the movies. He says there was no cutting up with the guys or good times for the 101st Airborne.
We just did what we needed to do, which was ambush and search and destroy.
He says one time he was tasked with leading the group to get them to where the choppers could get to them.
After it was over, it was kind of cool, you know, to lead the whole company, but it was kind of scary too, but we made it.
He says the choppers drop supplies about every 4 days.
Of course, when the choppers come in and the VC are in the area, they go, there they are over there.
He says in the jungle, you should never let your guard down.
We were digging through our stuff and actually having a pretty good time that day.
He says that's when they were hit from behind.
They just unleashed a barrage on us. And we hit the ground and everything. And I turned around and looked at the trees and the twigs and everything. Oh, they were all just hanging. But
Adame says he always had 2 guys looking out for him.
And they said, you get between us and we'll tell you what to do.
Years after his time in service, Adame started putting it all to paper.
It was fun to start with, and it took me 10 years to write.
He says it all goes back to a night alone at Travis Air Force Base.
I closed my eyes and there was almost an audible click in my head that said, you made it. They can't get you. Now you can go on and live the rest of your life.
He says the original title was going to be Silence because that's what so many experienced when they returned.
I think the way we were treated, I think tripped a lot of them that were on the balance part.
He says the young men saw so much in the jungle. He says back then they called it shell shock.
We were on such high alert. I mean, we was out in the boonies for 3, 4, 5 weeks at a time.
He says there's one story you won't find in these pages.
We was in single file and the squad platoon that was in front got lit up.
He says they all hit the ground.
And I felt something on the heel of my boot go blink. And I went, what was that? And then it hit my leg and my back. And then the last one goes bing off my steel pot. I go. And this all takes place in a nanosecond, I'll say.
He says it was an F-4 blazing above, firing a cannon.
Nobody even talked about it. It was just another day in the jungle. You know, let's go do it again somewhere else.
This smile shows that of a young man in a clean uniform for the first time in many, many months.
This picture is 51 years old.
This was captured just before he finally made it home.
So I'm glad I did it, but nobody wants to do it again.
Adame's book was dedicated to Danny Case, a high school friend of his he actually saw at the airport when he was coming home from Vietnam. Case was headed overseas and never made it home. Here for you, Gwen Bevel, KSN News 3.
The Devon James Injury Lawyers here, and I have the pleasure of introducing our Veteran of the Week, and that's Ron Adame, who served in the 101st Airborne Division during Vietnam. On behalf of all of Kansas, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Devon James, and thanks to Channel 3 for this opportunity.
Veteran Salute is sponsored by the Devon James Injury Lawyers.